Hi everyone. In this video lecture, we are going to see about exceptions in C++. What are these exceptions? So it's a systematic approach in handling errors generated by C++ class. So a C++ exception, it's a response to exceptional circumstances that arises during runtime. So these are always nothing but their runtime errors. They are caused by various reasons. One is running out of memory, then difficulty in opening a file, trying to initialize an object to an impossible value, or by using out of bounds memory. So these are few reasons, but they have lot many reasons that these exceptions may occur. So for example, if the stack overflow occurs, the user may not be knowing that and he may be entering data and that case exception occurs. Sometimes an attempt to divide by zero and zero condition that also causes these exceptions. And why do we need this exception handlers? Why do we need a mechanism to handle exceptions? So in C language program, it often signals an error by returning a particular value from the function in which it is occurred. Example, disk file functions often return null or zero to signal an error. Our problem with this approach is that every single call to such a function must be examined by the program itself. That's why there is a need for exception. And also the second important need is that the problem becomes more complex when classes are used and when classes and objects are created. Since errors may take place without a function being explicitly called. So exceptions solve the problems of communicating errors from the class libraries also. So all these cases we have exceptions. In exception mechanism, we use three important keywords. One is the throw and the other one is the catch. The last one is the try block. And we'll see what are this throw, catch and try. All these are keywords which are used for exception handling. So all this should be written in a program to handle possible exceptions. So we have to define the exceptions, possible exceptions. We have to write the program in the program, then all the errors may be eliminated. So first one is the throw block. So a program throws an exception when a problem shoots up. This is done by the throw keyword. Then the next one is the catch block. A program catches an exception when an exception handler be at the place in a program where you want to handle it. That is catching the exception. The last one is the try block. So it identifies a block of code for which a particular exception will be activated. So in all these cases, so in an exception, if you want to handle exception or error, we should make use of these three keywords: throw, catch, as well as try. So now let us see a simple example explaining how we are using this throw as well as try and catch keywords. So first one is we are just writing a class name. So this program also example explains about the syntax as well as in which part we have to use the throw keyword, where we have to use the try and where we have to catch for catching the exceptions. So we have written a class. So this has a class name is a class that is not specified here, and public, and there are no private data members. As we all know that in a class there are two data members, that is two important function things. One is the data member and the other is the member function. So here there are no data members specified in this program. So we are just first step is to create an exception class inside the base class. So this class is class and error. So this is created under public. So this is called as an exception class. And the next we are creating a function. So inside the function we can throw the error using the throw keyword. So we can throw the exception, and the main function we have to catch the exception. So in the main function we are catching the exception by try and catch keywords. And C++ also have some, we'll see one more example here after seeing the C++ standard exceptions. So C++ also have some standard exceptions. So the standard exceptions are base std exception. So this is the base class for all standard exceptions. These standard exceptions are stored in the library and called as and when used. And this under the standard exception, we have all the other exceptions which are listed below. So that is Std Bad Allocation. Bad allocation means we know about new and we have studied about new and delete keywords. So if not, refer my previous videos. You could see details about new and delete keywords. So this new keyword, what this new keyword does means it creates a new memory. So new memory for an array or for new or a pointer. By using pointer, it creates new memory. So bad allocation means sometimes if there is no space for creating a new memory, so this bad allocation is thrown. Then bad cast. So it is thrown by dynamic cast. So we have studied about static cast means it is the memory is static. Dynamic cast means the memory is different. So in case there is no dynamic memory also, this exception is thrown. Bad type ID. So it is thrown by type ID. Similarly, bad exception. So when we handle unexpected exceptions, so this even in the exception if there is an error, so this bad exception is thrown. Then we have standard logic failures. So logic failure occurs when there is some error in the logic of the code. So when there is invalid things in the logic, so these exceptions are called. That is, under logic failure, we have domain error, invalid argument, length error, out of range, bit set. Yeah, out of range. So what is this domain error? So that is thrown when a mathematically invalid domain is used. And what is this invalid argument? Invalid argument means when the argument is not valid. So if you have just declared with the different data types and if you are using another data type, so that is invalid argument. Length error. If the length is out of bound, so that is you will get length error. Out of range. So if it is going out of range. So similarly, similar to logic failure, we have runtime error also. For that also, we have many exceptions handlers, standard exception handlers in C++. So the first one is the overflow error. So it is thrown if a mathematical overflow occurs. Then range error. So it is try to store a value which is out of range. And also underflow error. Underflow like overflow, it's the opposite of overflow, right? So it's thrown if the mathematical underflow occurs. So these are all the standard exceptions which we should know just if you want to code in a C++ using exceptions. Then we'll see simple exception example. So just a stack. Stack means we know that just storing data, we use stack. So in the stack, we can push the data into the stack as well as we can pop out the data. So here also we are going to see a bit using classes and objects. So under the class name is stack. Before that we have defined the maximum size of the stack as global variable outside. So it is const int max equal to 3. So we have just declared the size of the stack is only 3. So under the stack we have private as well as data variables and public members. Because it is a class, we have private data variables as well as member functions. So under private we have declared the stack as st and the top index as top because it is used in the for pushing. So you would have studied about the basic stack program. So the same program we are using how to handle exceptions. So stack means we will fill it with the data and we can pop it as well as we can push the data. So the class range, this is the exception class. Under the public, the first step is to write the exception class. So we have written the exception class. So this is, if you have to throw some errors, you can throw it here, or otherwise we can keep it as empty. And this is the constructor. It is followed by a constructor. Here we have initialized the top index to be -1. And then we have written a function for pushing the data. So if the stack full, it should throw the exception. So instead of writing the throw command in the previous exception class, we have written the throw program. In this, we have written the throw exception inside this push. That means how to push it. So if the stack is full, we can't push the data into it. So if the top is greater than or equal to max -1. So because the top is -1, so if it is greater than or equal to max -1, 3 minus 1 is 2. If it is greater than or equal to 2, stack is full, right? So at the time it should throw an exception. Only then the user will stop inserting the data. And you see the next one is pop, for popping out. If the stack is empty, so it should, if the stack is empty, it can't pop out the data, right? So for that also we have to throw the exception. So we are throwing the exception here 2 times. for pushing as well as for popping. So for pushing, if it is full, we are just throwing it. If the popping, if the stack is empty, we should throw an exception to take the number of stack, right? So coming to the main function. So in the main function, first step is we are creating an object, stack S1, and we have written the throw block inside the classes, right? Inside the class, and we have to write the try and catch blocks in the main function. So under try, so we are just calling the push and pop functions. In this class, we have two functions. In the class, we have two functions. One function is push and the other one is pop, and the other class is called exception class. So three things we have written inside the public of the class stack. So coming the object, we have created one object. So using the one object, we are pushing data. First we have pushed 11, it's okay, and then we pushed 22, it's okay, then we pushed 33. The stack size is only 3, maximum 3. When we push the fourth data, that is 44, so it should give the error command, oops, stack full. Okay, so the stack is full, so it should not, we can't able to push the data. So we just see out when we are displaying all this. So when you display it using pop, that means we are calling the pop also. So pop also we can take out three elements. So when we try to take the fourth element, so it should give some message. The stack is full. So that message should be written inside the catch block. So that is catch, stack, scope resolution, range. This is called as the exception handler. So it should give that the command exception stack full or empty. So whatever exceptions, that is when the stack is full or when the stack is empty, so it should display this command, stack full or empty. So these are the main features how to deal with the exceptions. So that is the main features of throw block, try block and catch block. So throw should be written within the class and either in the public or inside the functions, and try and catch should be written inside the main functions. So these are the sequence of events. These steps are very important. Okay, code is first step is code is executing normally outside a try block. So we're just writing the code outside the try block. Control enters the control enters the try block and it tries to execute the codes. So a statement in the try block causes an error in the member function. If the inside the try block, for example, the stack is full, so that statement causes an error in the member function, right? Then the member function should throw an exception. So it throws an exception. So this control transfers to the exception handler and the catch block, and it lists the error message. So this is all about exception handler. Hope you have understood about the basic concept in exceptions. Thank you for watching.